Welcome to Surthrival, the podcast about befriending grief. I'm Stacia Gaines. Grieving is hard work, and for that reason, many put it off. Unfortunately, the only way through grief is to face the darkness head on. I'd like to share with you 7 Surthrival principles that have helped me in my grief. The first principle is feel the feels. You know, all humans feel. Even if you're not a touchy-feely person, we all feel. There's no escaping the feelings. Feelings are natural. That's what makes us human. Feelings are neutral. Now, this may be a new one for you. Feelings are neutral. They are neither good nor bad. And that's important to know. Wouldn't it be so awful if you saw a starving, abused child and you didn't feel anger and sadness? Now, not all feelings feel good. Sadness, anger, those feel rotten when you're experiencing them. But they are an important part of who we are as humans. So it is imperative to feel all of your emotions and recognize that it is just your way of dealing with what you're experiencing. Failure to feel the feels will actually block the healing process. And you know what? Those feelings will ooze out when you least expect them to. The second principle is to identify your feelings. And when I say that, I mean really think about what you're feeling and dive deeper. Label those feelings. There are lists that you could look at and say, okay, I'm not feeling just sad. Maybe I feel real despair, or maybe what I'm feeling is loneliness. One of my favorite books by Brene Brown is called Atlas of the Heart. And in it, she defines similar words. And so you can really say, okay, this is really more what I'm experiencing right now. So feel the feels, name or label your feelings. And then the next Surthrival principle is to express the feels. Appropriate expression of the feelings is extremely important. This may look different for whatever the feeling is. For feeling sad, maybe crying is the best way to express that feeling. For anger, this is often a physical, even violent expression of the feeling. That could be punching a pillow or throwing something. But it is important to express things in a way that is appropriate for the feeling. One of my favorite Surthrival principles is to find creative ways of expressing feelings. I love to draw. You could write poetry. You could sing. You could create pottery. You could dance. But some kind of creative expression often bypasses those rational thoughts and feelings and allows you to feel things in a much deeper way and express them in a way that just helps you to work through those feelings. Another important Surthrival principle is to get out in nature. Nature is healing. It boosts your immune system, lowers cortisol levels, reduces your blood pressure, and promotes relaxation. Being surrounded by nature improves your mood, reduces anxiety, and actually alters your brain activity in the prefrontal cortex. And that's the part of your brain that regulates emotions. Being out in nature, particularly in the woods or around water, just immediately changes your mood. So get out in nature. The next Surthrival principle is to express gratitude, practice gratitude. This is not a Pollyanna approach of pretending like everything is A-OK, but counting your blessings is a healthy way to keep that emotional state balanced. It is a way of putting into practice that regardless of what you're feeling in your grief, that you do indeed have a lot to be grateful for. Speaking or writing these down actually shifts your perspective. Another great way is to reframe your thinking. Your circumstances don't change, but sometimes just viewing those circumstances from a different perspective can really help you to kind of get out of thinking traps. And then the last Surthrival principle is community. You know, it is nearly impossible to heal alone. You really need people to witness your grief. You need people to be present for you and with you. There are times you'll want to be alone, and that's okay. But don't get stuck there. Time with other people you trust reminds you that you are not alone, that you are loved. Lastly, and this still has to do with community, one of the very best ways to heal is to find ways to serve others. This is important. All people go through times of hurting and despair. And when you get out and serve others who are also in need, this changes your perspective and reminds you that we are all humans who need one another.